Anti-Afro Svengalis. I'm going to talk about the complaints that I filed with the DeKalb County School District as it relates to Carrie Ann. Yes, I said plural, complaints. Before I do that, I want to play a few clips. Take us back in time to a year ago and present day. I think these clips are very interesting. So stay tuned and I will return.
Because she clips what I say and she sent it to my job. I had to have meetings with my principal. I've had to have meetings with human resources, and they all told me the same thing. Don't talk about her. Don't make no videos. Don't respond to her. What's sad is that I have to censor myself when I go into a chat because then she'll screenshot it and put it on her thumbnail or video or on her community wall. She don't care about them kids because I feel like when she goes on the attack and says makes those videos about us, and what has happened in my opinion, in my instance, and I kind of see it in other people's instances too, people don't want to come to your chat if they know that she's going to put their comment on a video or on their community wall. I've had people tell me, please do not put me in your video. I've had people tell me, I don't want to be a mod on your channel. I've had people who just like, don't come back. It's like, I'm being a real person. This is who I am. I just happen to disagree with how you treat people and what you're doing. And then in this case, because I spoke out, now she's doing that same thing to me. And I just want to shout out the supporters who still stood by me as I was now being attacked. And some of them started being attacked because they was associated with me. So you're not trying to rally the troops and get,
Let me stop here because I want to make some comments about the lies that you hear. Let me see your handcuffs spewing. Let me see your handcuffs is the one who went on the attack. And when she went on the attack, guess what we did initially? Nothing. We agreed to let me see your handcuffs do her thing. And what happened? All of these subjects in her demon chat, her co-demons, were making comments, were reacting and responding to all of the crap that she was saying about us. She continued on and on and on and on, and there was no response. It wasn't until we started to fight back and defend ourselves did this whole catastrophic call the cavalry disposition start. Her I'm the victim start. How she's talking about me because we don't agree started. She went on and I didn't say anything. She lied and said that she was the president of AFW, which was an LLC. She was making money the entire time that she was attacking me and Rev G, friends and supporters, and she's the one who allowed Carrie Ann to come into her chat and start falsely accusing Rev G of harming children. That was let me see your handcuffs demon chat. And then we started giving a response to all of the shit that she was saying, and that's when she unraveled. Let's make sure we get it straight. That is the timeline. Why do you think Let Me See Your Handcuffs never took me to court? Because she knew she was going to lose. She tried to make it appear as though she was going to sue me. Well, I'm still waiting. Let me see your handcuffs because the timeline is clear. You need to file that lawsuit. I'll be able to show the judge how you lied. That's why she doesn't file it. She's going to have to file a lawsuit and lie. She took down 250 videos and trying to position herself as a victim. Thought she was home free because I didn't react to her initially. Who says I have to react to whatever someone says about me just because they say something? Guess what? I'm not a slave. I get to react or respond or not when I want to, not because somebody's looking for content. And Let Me See Your Handcuffs made plenty of money off us until we decided to defend ourselves. That is a problem that Carrie Ann has. She has a problem with people defending themselves, but she's got no problem saying whatever the hell she wants about others. That is not how life is. Not from my vantage point, anyway. What would be the reason anybody would care about somebody posting their screenshots? If they're non actionable, if they're non discriminatory, if they're not race attacking, if they're not slanderous, who's going to care about somebody posting someone's screenshots? When have you ever heard me crying about somebody posting my screenshot? I don't care what you post as far as a screenshot. It's up here on YouTube, it's public domain. Who's going to be a crybaby and whine about their screenshots being shown? We mentioned our screenshots being shown because we were just proving there's some other situation where every single week all the person did was show our screenshots. That's just proving you got no content. You have nothing to talk about, and nobody's going to give a damn unless you're posting our screenshots. We don't care that they were posted. We were simply proving a point. But let me see your handcuffs was crying and screaming and complaining and lying and saying that we were talking about people who never mentioned us. No, those demons were constantly posting information about us, and people were just sending us all this stuff. And when we decided to react to what Let Me See Your Handcuffs and her demons were doing, that's when the problem started for Let Me See Your Handcuffs. It never started for me because I was always going to respond. I was always going to respond to Let Me See Your Handcuffs on my timeline. Rev G was always going to respond on his timeline. Up here thinking that she owns YouTube and can tell us when, where, and how, or whether to respond to information she posts about us or spews about us, which 99.999% lies. What is the 1% or 0.0 whatever you want to say percent? Our names. That was the only true and real information she posted about us. The rest was bullshit, including how she tried to couch how the information came over, violating privacy. She was doing that. She was doing all kinds of shit, posting videos from the school. So I'm going to play you another clip, and I have some feedback I want to come back and share with you. Stay tuned, and I will return.
Yeah, the spy shit was completely unnecessary. It's funny. Do you recall this? A similar tactic was used against Let Me See Your Transcript, and when she was talking to General kids. With a lot of us, like myself included, that calling your job shit, that card can be pulled at any time. All of these lives, all of these old lives, like being on Mac shit, being on smoke old shit. Let me speak for myself personally. I'm a single mother. I have 2 children, and I'm responsible for an elderly mother who gets a little measly Social Security check. My rent. I'm renting a home. I don't own my home. I'm renting a home. Oh my God, my rent is damn near $3,000 a month. So I'm yeah, because the way I have my life set up and everything. Um, so yeah, so I got a lot of bills and all that shit. Like so if I lost my job, I would be up. Like me and my 2 children and my elderly mother, we would be homeless. We would be really really up. Like I can't afford to not work.
I'm going to address these comments that Tiff P has made because she tends to make these comments with respect to anything involving me, AFW, friends and supporters. She has a very skewed position. And I think it's very telling when you have people in these YouTube streets who brag about the profession and they don't represent it well. I'm making that statement. Let's start out. I don't want to go over too much history, but basically, Tiff P came on here and covered this Catherine Brown case and only told you one side of it. But in the end, she ended up leaving off a huge chunk by stating the only reason why the case was dismissed was because of jurisdiction, which is a lie. The judge made it very clear that this case that Catherine Brown filed fell far short of the legal standard and it was nebulous. She left that out. But let me tell you what my issue is now. First off, she's lying. Her comments about let me see your handcuffs. I'd like to know, how do you know what information I submitted to Aldine Independent School District when I filed my 5-page complaint against Let Me See Your Handcuffs? Who even said that I submitted a complaint that included Let Me See Your Handcuffs derogatory statement of MF kids? Who said that I did that? You're up here making a statement that's essentially slanderous, claiming that I submitted a complaint and made this statement. Not only that, that I somehow manufactured, doctored, or altered evidence. This is how I look at your statements. You are accusing me of submitting falsified information. And as an attorney, that's particularly troublesome. You don't know what my complaint said with respect to let me see your handcuffs. You don't know what evidence I submitted. You don't know what I said when I submitted the complaint against Carrie Ann. You don't know the evidence I submitted. So for you to come on here and make this accusation that I submitted false documents to a governmental agency, that's slanderous. So I suggest you tread carefully in the future, because I really am fed up with your false statements that you've made about me, about my friends, because we're defending ourselves. Is that going to be okay with you? If I stood up here and said, you need money, so I bet you're hijacking funds from your client accounts, that you're in dire straits, you need some money, and you're looking to score a bonus on a case, so you're going to withhold evidence, I consider your statements to be in the same vein. Yes, I get it. You rode with Dempsey and you said what you said for whatever reasons you said what you said, ignoring the truth. If you want to continue on that route, do so without slandering me, because that is not something I'm going to continue to tolerate. You don't have a right to say the things that you're saying. It's exacerbated by the fact that you're an attorney. Just because you're a lawyer doesn't mean that you're exempt from being held responsible. I don't get these public servants out here, rogue public servants, who come onto YouTube and think because they have a title or a license or a certificate that they're above the law and can say what they want. If you're going to use your title, use it appropriately. Use it within the confines of the law. You can't come on here as a lawyer slandering me because you don't agree with my opinion, because you're too worried about what people are going to say if you so happen to speak logic into a situation. You want to defend Carrie Ann? Defend Carrie Ann. You want to defend let me see your handcuffs? Do that. But do that without slandering me. I don't take kindly to it. And I'm done with that. Suggest saying nothing about me if you think you can't do so without slandering me. It's not acceptable. Now let me move on to giving this update regarding my complaints that I filed against Carrie Ann with the DeKalb County School District. A reminder, I made it very clear I was going to file complaints against Carrie Ann. When I say plural, I'll explain in a minute what I mean by that. That was going back almost 3 years. It's not any concern of mine that Carrie Ann ignored that. That's not my issue to deal with. I'll go ahead and give you the dates. September 11th is when I filed my initial complaint. And just today, which is the 27th, I filed a retaliation complaint. Specifically because Carrie Ann has come back onto social media / YouTube and has retaliated against, I know, against me and against breaking the culture of silence for the complaints that we filed, which is unlawful. Now, I don't want anyone to lose sight of the fact of the reason why I'm coming here to report what's happening, because I want to make sure people get it down without question. Intimidation will not be tolerated. Don't ever let anybody force you, harass you, threaten you, shame you, embarrass you out of asserting your rights. With Carrie Ann, it was so clear about what she was doing from the start. And it's reinforced by several episodes, Carrie Ann making references to her grandmother. Now, a lot of times these comments were part of clips that came over. And what do I mean by her grandmother? Very clearly, Carrie Ann's grandmother shamed her a lot. Shamed her for songs that she liked to listen to, for how she was as a, quote, girl. Because Carrie Ann has made these comments. How her grandma flipped out because she saw her or heard her singing a Tina Turner song. This is Carrie Ann's mode. Shame, embarrass, humiliation. This is what she goes for. Because this is what she was obviously, according to her own information, was exposed to. Grandmas have a very significant influence in our life. So if grandma was shaming Carrie Ann, you don't think grandma was shaming Carrie's mother? You can do the math on that. So this is what Carrie Ann relies on. She really thinks by making certain statements about people, insults, that she's going to shame, embarrass, humiliate them into silence to allow her to continue what she's doing. If that doesn't work, she's going to bring up the fact, according to her, that she has mental health issues. Either way it goes, it's all designed to shut you up so she can continue doing what she does. That was so obvious from the start, people. But it doesn't work with us. Carrie Ann doesn't get it. And if that is what it is, that's what it is. I know it's a figure of speech. She's going to learn her lesson, or she should learn her lesson. I don't give a damn about what lesson she learns. What I care about are these complaints being investigated as they are being investigated, because I received written confirmation of just that. That is my concern, and that there is a decision made based on Georgia legislation that has been passed with respect to teacher code of conduct, to professional standards. That's what I'm looking for. And if they go by these regulations and these policies, we know it's inevitable. At the very least, she is going to have her credentials suspended and ideally revoked. I'm not even talking about going back to a job. Are you serious? There's no way in hell they're going to put Carrie Ann back in that school or that district. There's no way in hell. That is what I am predicting. I have a right to assert that. Carrie Ann did what she did for almost 3 years. This was not an isolated incident. This is such a gathering of essentially every single protected group being placed under attack as per Carrie Ann's reckless conduct, this reckless abandon. That's what Carrie Ann decided to do. And I think it's comical how she went about this conduct for almost 3 years and now seems to think that we're supposed to have some sort of guilt behind the fact that she's facing consequences. Try that on someone else. It's not working on anybody that's filed a complaint against her, because we are going to continue to pursue our complaints. And Carrie Ann apparently hasn't had enough attention. So we can make sure that's arranged, because there is a person here engaging in conduct that you hear and see white folks engaging in, and you have the entire news cavalry coming out. And this is just for one statement. So Carrie Ann seems to think that she's exempt, and her comments about you're trying to destroy the black woman, they're trying to destroy the black professionals. That's the mantra that she's on. Fine, say that. That's not going to work. What kind of world are you living in to think that you're going to saddle me with guilt regarding your conduct? I'll tell you what kind of world it is. The world that she refers to constantly with grandma. Shaming and then reinforcing with guilt. I don't have any relationship with Carrie Ann. That wasn't the type of upbringing I had. But let me tell you something. If you had that kind of upbringing, what Carrie Ann tries to do can work. I'm going to relinquish my rights to someone who has essentially no control of herself. She has a very limited range of control when she was in that school, but even then, there were problems. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm very much aware that there were complaints. And not every complaint results in somebody being hauled out of a school, but the information I received, there were some race-based complaints. This was not the first time. When Carrie Ann came here to YouTube, her making these statements about certain racial or ethnic groups, it's no surprise. It's not new to her. But she's going to have to tap in to someone who shares her same degree of guilt and shaming in order to be even partially successful. You're not going to succeed with me. You're not going to succeed with Rev G, with breaking the culture of silence. I can't speak to other people who decide to file a complaint, whether she can tap into their shame and guilt. It's not working with me. Never was going to work. It was so easy to figure out Carrie Ann right from the start. I kept telling the Owl Show, it's not just with men. She's got problems with a lot of people, with essentially everyone. And that was an early conversation I had with the Owl Show. I stated it to others. The reason why I'm mentioning the Owl Show, because she was attacking him. That's why I'm bringing him up. I made it very clear to him. Just stick around and you're going to see. And sure enough, as time rolled on, you saw she expanded her targets of attack. It's about every group under the sun. And the problem is Carrie Ann's. The problem isn't mine. The problem isn't breaking the culture of silence. The problem isn't the school district. The problem isn't the parents or the students. The problem is Carrie Ann. And she is the one that we are going to make damn sure shoulders that burden. I'll be damned if she thinks she's going to put any kind of burden on me for defending my rights. If she managed to capture you all in your guilt and shame stage, she captures you. And you all means who it applies to. She holds on for as long as she can in that school setting, and she thought she found a place where she can come and unload on other black folks and there would be no consequences. When she saw the pushback, that's when she started freaking out even more. How dare you not sit still and let me abuse you? Well, again, if you want to offer yourself up for that type of abuse, I'm not going to stand in your way. You aren't going to stand in mine either when it comes to me pursuing my rights. I don't even need to say that I'm speaking for other people, but I guess it's obvious that others aren't going to allow it either. You're not going to be able to get everybody to go along with accepting abuse. There are those who are going to speak up, but Carrie Ann still has an expectation that all black folks in a space that she decided to come to are going to take all her bullshit and take all her verbal abuse and take all harassment and feel guilt and shame like hell. I don't give a damn whether Carrie Ann learns a lesson or not. I care about this investigation being carried out to the letter of the law as the Georgia legislation so dictates. And of course, I'm going to be giving you updates as they become available as to the status of my complaint. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.